All right, so it looks like we are live, although it doesn't show that on my screen here. Oh, there I am. Okay, so we are live. All right, so I got, I think, a few people on already. I don't plan on having too many. Like I said, these are very random chats, so I don't expect to get a huge turnout. But I am doing these just for fun and to just kind of talk about, basic stuff. And I mean, there's a lot to talk about almost every day. It seems like something new is coming out in regards to gun regulations, maybe attacks on the Second Amendment. Obviously, we also have the new issue with what's happening on YouTube. Apparently, Mac's channel has been voluntarily shut down by him based on the fact that, he got his second strike, I believe, and then he was concerned about not being able to kind of speak to anybody over the weekend because, of course, they did it obviously in the dark of the night over the weekend when there's nobody to respond. So apparently he shut us down indefinitely to see what's going on with that. I guess also Hank Strange's main channel is gone. He got his third strike over the weekend, so he was removed. And I think right now I guess I'll give him some props. I think he's live streaming right now on his other one or his other channel. So you guys can always leave this and go see that. It's probably more interesting. And then I was told Hegshot also got one strike. So it seems like for whatever reason, there are certain channels that are being targeted. Obviously, not every channel. Hickok 45 is not touched. Such is not touched. Mr. Guns and Gear is not touched. So there's a ton of channels that are still out there that haven't been touched at all. So let me really quick just say hello to everybody that's in here. So Humble Marksman was the first ready to go. What's going on? Hopefully he's still here. He probably got sick and tired of waiting, so he's gone. Logan White, what's up? Mateo, Sean M, Sandpaper Pistol Grips, what's going on? Wiley Guns, hello. Fit and Fire, what's up, buddy? Big Daddy G, good evening back to you, sir. Alaskan Ballistics, what's up, y'all? Do It Right's here, calling you all sexy people. Anyway, let's see. Kevin Justin, going on. What's going on there, buddy? James Rowe, it is a Green Lantern shirt. What can I say? I'm still a kid at heart. Let's see. Huff CZP07, he's saying do it right. He's laughing at you. So KS Gun Guy is here. I didn't invite him. Why is he here? Just kidding. Let's see. So, Two Willing Nut, what's up? Ken Dog and Ray Coyle going on. What's going on? ASL, hello. The Armsman, hello. So, yeah, I mean, this is a huge, huge issue right now because, of course, you can approach it from two different perspectives. And I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about what's going on. I'm sure many of you are sort of, I'm sure some of you are kind of up in arms about this, no pun intended. But, I think for me personally, I kind of got a little aggravated with a lot of the people really being upset that, Mac involuntarily took his channel down. And, look, I'm not going to say that I am a fan or not a fan of his. Honestly, I think sometimes the bigger channels tend to be more opportunist than anything else. However, with that said, just the simple fact that you have these random strikes that are going on and there is no violation of the policies that YouTube actually set forth, it makes you really say whether you like the person or not, you do have to stand in their corner because obviously there is an attack. Now, the question I have for all of you, is it an attack on guns or is it an attack on the freedom of speech? Because, other gun channels are still intact, some with more, subscribers than, let's say, the Military Arms channel, and some with about the same, and obviously some with less. So is it an attack on the gun channels or is it an attack on people who have come out to be more vocal over the policies that are really shaping the Second Amendment, whether we like that or not? So I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about that. If you want, just put a comment down and we'll address it. Kevin Justin, what's going on, buddy? Steve Lemieux, what's up? And let's see. So opt out of gun control is saying attack on guns. YouTube has the right to remove anyone. You are correct. I mean, it is a privately owned corporation. I don't know. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but I know Mac was threatening class action lawsuit potentially. I don't really know if there's any ground to stand on because even though it's a public forum, it's still privately owned. And my question would be more or less, if it's a private company with a public forum, maybe it's the fact that they're using public internet, because technically the internet is a public being, if you want to call it that. So I'd like to see how that would play out in the courts. Again, I don't have the money to get an attorney, so I ain't doing it. Let's see. Logan's asking, how is everybody Saturday night? KS Gun Guy is saying he thinks YouTube is flexing their agenda. I would agree with that. I think that is, an opportunity that they've been looking for a while. Because again, let's be honest, they are not exactly pro 2A people, and I would really love to know how many of our channels are going to be gone by the end of the month, and I think that's kind of an interesting thing to think about at this point. Let's see. Alaskan Ballistics is saying, what does a privately owned corporation who sets free speech as a standard get to be able to retract that standard? That's a breach of contract. And yeah, that is an absolute great, opinion, because again, you have a contract with YouTube and they set forth these guidelines, and then they, unfortunately, for whatever reason, they're just randomly, arbitrarily knocking people out. And, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting court case. James Rose saying, need a pro gun rights YouTube. I agree with that. As a matter of fact, Yankee Marshall, not a big fan of his either, but watched his video on it. And I left a comment in his video saying, if the NRA is really pro-gun, and if the GOA is really pro-gun, then maybe these two organizations really need to chop off their collective heads of arrogance, because there is a full-fledged attack right now from every side, Republican and Democrat. So it's not a party line issue, but maybe the NRA and the GOA need to really just chop off their heads of arrogance, join forces together, and really get something started for this community. I mean, they claim to represent us, and they see there's an attack on certain individuals, maybe the gun community as a whole right now, and yet there's no talk of that at all, which I find very interesting. I think what we're going to find right now is, in this process, we're going to really see who really, doesn't just talk the talk, but walks the walk. And I think we're going to see that happen very quickly as to which groups, which people are really willing to stand up. Let's see. Wiley Gunn saying the left is in full effect, shaming anyone who doesn't agree with their viewpoint. And I agree with that also. I would tell you, my wife and I have had some really interesting discussions because she's not a pro-gun person necessarily. She's not necessarily anti-gun, but, she says, well, what should we do? He shouldn't have gotten a gun. And I said, but it's not about the gun. The gun is the after effect of everything else that happened to allow him to get to that point. Well, then if he went for the background check, why didn't they know he had a long track record in school? Problem is it's not a gun issue. This is a court and privacy issue. When you have certain issues in school, that record isn't going to be opened to the public. I mean, your mental health records are not going to be opened because of HIPAA laws. So, this whole talk, it's guns, guns, guns. You'd have to revamp the whole system to make sense. Let's see. KS is saying, I'm sure there is a movement to flag every gun channel. You're probably right. Tim Hardaway is saying, oh, Tim Hardaway, killer crossover, maybe. Just trollers starting trouble and not liking subject matters of the people who believe in the Second Amendment. And you have a point there too. I mean, it doesn't take much for somebody to flag the video, and then all of a sudden you get a strike against you because people are upset that you displayed a handgun or a rifle. So that's possibly true. Hello, Nodak. What's going on, buddy? Let's see. Kevin Justin, it's an attack. Clearly, what's the parameters which constitutes for disabling a person's account or content? And did any who was affected have any content which met YouTube's standard, or I should say that didn't meet YouTube standards? Apparently not. I mean, I saw the videos that were flagged on Max, and they were like lame videos. I mean, not saying that they were lame videos, but there was absolutely no reason to have flagged those videos. None. But it seems like the pattern is going after anything with rifles. I know I saw earlier this evening, Hank Strange was talking about a lot of his bullpup videos were the ones that were targeted. So it may be anything that looks like scary, I guess. I don't know. Let's see. Matthew Davis, Google Alphabet is a publicly traded company. My guess is most stockholders could care less if gun channels go away. Again, that is also true. I mean, money talks, and the people who are investing their money from their companies are not going to be necessarily supporting things that are not fashionable right now. And I'm not saying that's right. I'm not, obviously, but that's what's happening right now. Yeah, I'm flying solo. This is just, like I said, just a kind of a thing I do every once in a while. Let's see. I think it's obvious that YouTube is run by the left. That sucks, Wiley. Ben is saying AR 30 years ago. Yeah, I mean, what is the difference? There's more guns than people. It's been that way for a very long time. Why all of a sudden, everybody wants to take away guns, but they've been here forever. Why are we having so many problems now? Hunter Food is saying, I thought full30.com was supposed to open it up to everyone. Yeah, that's what we heard, but that never happened. Maybe it was a money issue. I don't really know. I mean, I have my own personal views on Mac. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm not saying he's got a bad channel. He's got a great channel. He makes good videos, but I also question, a lot of people saying he's the man. We need to listen to him and everything he says. But I also question that as well, man. I really do. Because honestly, you guys know I'm from New York. We've gone through we've been run through the washing machine several times here with gun rights, and we still continue to even today. And I've been a part of movements in New York State to try to get more gun rights and to fight and to go to Albany and to speak to legislators and judges and sheriffs. And we get nowhere. And honestly, we get no support. We get zero. We have the local help that we get, the grassroots movement, but that's it. And, I didn't hear anybody say anything all the way back in, 2013, 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago now, well, a little less, I wouldn't say even 5 years, a little more over 4 years, when they passed the SAFE Act, there wasn't much about that from anybody who are now claiming themselves to be the champions of the Second Amendment. And I have a problem with that. I do. And, I made a comment earlier that, the idea that if we don't hang together, we're going to hang separately. And New York and California, they've been used as, patient zero. We are the ones who kind of set the standard of how they were going to remove more and more of everybody's gun rights. And nobody said a word. And, I hate to say it, guys, but it sucks. And I hope it doesn't get any further than this. But, I'm done. So let me look at some of your comments here. And again, I'm not going to be on long tonight, guys, because I know there's another chat coming up on 9:30, but I don't want to, like I said, I'm not trying to step on people's toes. So I just want to read through some of this. Wicked Dawn, what's up, buddy? Haven't seen you in a while. Let's see. Frank Hellman, sorry, 17. Hank is on another chat with Firearm Rack. Catch up later. Not a problem. That's cool. I don't like the Firearm Rack, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Not a big fan of his either. Some guys I like, some guys I don't. I think some people are very, very opportunist when we deal with YouTube, and it shows quite a bit on some of them. Let's see. Humble Marksman, there are the same people who dismissed James Damore for telling the truth about the genders. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that, man. To me, that's a whole nother discussion on a different channel, not mine. Let's see. Poe Performance, not a fan of Mac at all. I think he's a douchebag, by the way. I have an AR video coming soon. We'll see if it gets flagged. So apparently Poe is going to get removed from YouTube in a couple of days. Let's see. YouTube is also an exchange of information, a social site, and is a public part of society at this point. True. It is true. So, do we have an argument saying that it is a public domain? And as such, we should have control over that, but we don't pay for the bills. Main cause of Massachusetts shootings, or mass shootings, sorry, Massachusetts. Mass shootings, according to Logan, is psychiatric medication. I think that does play a role, but again, Big Pharma makes a lot of money, and they definitely grease the palms of politicians, no doubt. Kevin Justin, with that being said, if they didn't have any content that was prohibited by YouTube, why was anyone given any strikes, or why their accounts or content flagged or disabled? Again, that's another great point. And again, I don't have answers for that. That's something they're going to have to figure out and try to do something about. Let's see. Mateo. Logan White, I'd argue the reason in the fact we coddle too many kids and don't teach them real coping mechs. I agree with that. I think that's a huge problem as well. Look at every socialist and communist regime and what did it start with? And we're getting to that point. Let's see. Mateo saying, I like Patrick to a point, but he exhibits too much gun snobbery and elitism. I hate talking shit about people, But you know, with him, I think where my dislike of him personally came from was the gun video he made on what was the name of that stupid gun that when you dropped it, it wasn't drop safe, and then he came out saying that they had known forever. What was that? I forget what it was called. If any of you you can tell me, let me know. But you know, I had questioned him on why did he wait so long, and he said basically his answer was to me, "Well, I have children to feed, and that's why he didn't say anything." And then later on, he made another video saying how honorable he is and how truthful he is, and that nothing and no one would ever make him do something that was not part of his whatever his ethical code. So you know, to me, that's hypocritical. You know, I got families to feed, but now that I'm getting more popular on my own, now I'm a man with you know, whatever morals. It's unreal. Let's see, honor guard. That was it. Yep, the honor guard. You know, and again, it was, I think it was his. I'm trying to remember what video it was where he started saying how he prides himself on the idea that he's honest about everything and that he would never do something that would jeopardize his integrity or something like that. And I was going to leave a message, but then I'd get all the hate, which I'm probably going to get for this video too. So that's cool. Let's see. KS is saying, I agree with Wicked. YouTube is heavily ingrained in our culture, and I think they have a responsibility to be level and fair. Of course, that will never happen. And yes, you are right. That will probably never happen. I don't like Rob Pincus either personally. You know, I don't know him personally. He doesn't really do much for me. I mean, I'm sure he knows his stuff. I'm sure he's a great shooter from what I've seen. And, you know, I kind of made fun of him on, I made fun of him on Hank Strange's video when he interviewed him, saying that he could sell sand in the desert or something like that. He's a great salesman, guys, no doubt. CW Hunter is saying, I appreciate that some YouTubers were able to monetize their content, but in my mind, this should be an endeavor of passion. If one does this only to make money, then they should rethink sensibilities. And I agree with that too. I mean, like I said, you know, right now you have a few people who are going, oh, the world's on fire. They're coming after the Second Amendment. But this has been going on for years. And in those years, they've been making money. And when that money was good and their pots were filled, no problem, no issues, no worries. Don't talk about anything. Now, all of a sudden, they're losing some of that filled pot. Now there's a problem. But a lot of the small channels like mine and some of the guys on the panel here or on the chat, they've been feeling that as well. No doubt. Let's see. And then KS, of course, the ultimate apologist, is saying the money helps compensate for the heavy expenses of running a channel. I hope that's in jest, my friend. Because you know, again, the heavy money that you're spending, that's a choice. That's your choice to do that. Nobody's telling you you have to make these videos. Nobody is saying that you have to buy these guns and buy the cameras and buy the lighting. I mean, nobody's telling you to do that. So if you're willing to, you know, accept the responsibility of making the videos, then you also have to be accepting the responsibility of paying what you got to pay. You know, is it nice to get free stuff? Sure, it'd be great. But I just don't agree with that idea. Thank you, Logan. It is a pretty cool tattoo. So again, you know, like I said, I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody. I think what we need to do is somehow as a community, we need to stop. KS just gave me the middle finger. You know, I hate you sometimes, KS. But anyway, you know, one of the things that I definitely want to say though, is that I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to say, if you're going to be honest about this discussion, then you need to stand up when everybody's facing it, not just you. And then Triple C is saying, I get free holsters. That's right. I do. I get free holsters sometimes, not all the time. I'd like to get free bullets. That would be great. Let's see. Humble Marksman has asked me, have I shown people my tats at Olight yet? No, I have not. Maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe that's why I don't look tactical enough. So I got to grow this out and then I got to get more tattoos. So let's see. Opt out of gun control says he doesn't get crap for free. Well, you got to start, you know, networking, buddy. That's what I do. I basically say, hey, would you like to send me something for review? Most of the time I get no, 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 yes, no, 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 no. And, you know, sometimes you just get hooked up, you know. I mean, this is not 180 seconds, whatever review, whatever Johnny's channel is. I can't remember what it's called now. But you know, he gets everything. I get barely anything. And I think that's why I kind of love him and hate him at the same time. Let's see. I'm assuming this is going to be mid Tennessee outdoors. I do this for fun. I lost my partnership and don't care, honestly. Yeah, you know, I look, I do it for fun. You know, every once in a while, it's nice to see, you know, you get a little tiny smidgen of money from your efforts. Um, but you know, this is not and never has been and never will be a reasonable way for me to make a living. I mean, Jesus, that's crazy. If this was the way I was going to make a living, I'd be living in a box somewhere. So let's see. David Gass, you're saying you missed the beginning. Don't worry, you didn't miss anything. Trust me. I am. Poe, I'm going to get an Olight tat right on my big nose, right here. Just a big flashlight. Yeah, I mean, my guns I buy on my own. You know, you trade them in when you want, and then you go from there. But you know, like I said, if sometimes you get some stuff and you know, they send you things that are decent. You know, I got my condition 1 case. That friggin' thing is awesome, you know, and they sent that to me and I truly appreciate it. Let's see. Let's see. C4 defense thing. I'd like to be able to buy a box of ammo with all this YouTube money. I'd like to buy ammo with too. I don't even make enough for that half the time. Sometimes I make enough to pay for half of a night sight. That's about it. That's about where I'm at financially with YouTube. Homo Marksman saying, get a pecker tat. It would be your mini baton. No, I don't think people want to see that. It wouldn't be a mini either. Let's see. Bald and Curious, 14 bucks a month. Whew, raking it in, buddy. Raking it in. Let's see. C4 Defense hasn't made a dime yet. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't really know how it works, and I don't even care. You know, I guess it's based on how many people look at your stuff and all that other stuff, but I don't know. apparently Sandpaper Pistol Grips has a tattoo reaching into his Netherlands, and that's interesting. Instead of a squirrel. Probably didn't need to know that, buddy. Now you're definitely not getting that Shadow 2 back. Do It Right says he apparently has a micro baton. That's funny stuff. So apparently Nodak doesn't do anything, but he got asked to be a brand ambassador. That's nice. Alaskan Ballistic saying he's not planning on monetizing his channel, keeps you under the radar. You know, maybe it does. I would recommend doing it because, you know, who cares? You know, like, who really cares? If they knock out all of our channels, we can always come back and do another channel. You just can't show guns. You'd have to show, like, you know, Revlon makeup or something like that. Let's see. Logan saying he hasn't a job over a year, which sucks. Yeah, that definitely does, man. I hope at some point it works out for you. KS just bought a Gulfstream 5 with his YouTube cash. Yeah, you know, KS makes a lot of dough. I won't tell you how much he makes. He makes a lot of money. Plus, he owns that gun. You know the place you know the place he shoots at all the time. He owns that place. So don't let him fool you. Total trust fund, baby. You can review the Remington RP45. No, not happening. Let's see. Yeah, you know, I know Armsman is saying to Bald and Curious, I've seen where some will not give a sincere opinion on reviews because they want to continue receiving free merchandise. Yeah, I mean, that happens. You know, that definitely happens. You know, me personally, the stuff I've been, you know, the stuff I've gotten, you know, has been given to me, but thank God it's all been great. You know, the holster's been great. You know, I did some reviews on some handguns that I was able to get a hold of. But I was as honest as I could be on those guns. You know, there were positives and negatives for everything. Yeah, see, now KS is angry. So everybody back off of him. But he's he's a trust fund baby. He tries to pretend he's not. You should see his house. Huge mansion. He's getting so pissed at me probably right now. I'm just kidding. He's not rich. He's dirt poor. Logan is saying, have you or would you ever review Ruger Security 9? I would if I didn't have to pay for one. Like I said, my budgeting is for things that I really am into. I like the Ruger Security 9, and the price is really low. But I'll be honest with you, I really don't want to shell out the cash, because if I don't want to keep that gun, which I probably wouldn't, I'd probably want to turn it over, and I'm just not going to get enough back to justify the purchase. If Ruger wanted to send me one, sure, but that ain't happening. Actually, it's funny because I've been looking at a couple of guns lately, and I do like the PX4. I know people saying don't look at that; it's garbage or whatever. Some people say they like it, but I do like the PX4, and I'm still really looking at the Mod 2s, guys, from Springfield. As a matter of fact, it's kind of funny because I got an email from Springfield today talking about how our Second Amendment rights are being attacked and how they stand firmly with the Second Amendment. So I thought that was kind of an interesting email, and. So anyway, I just want to clear the record. KS is not filthy rich. He is not a trust fund baby. He does not live in a mansion. He is like you and I, okay? Blue collar, working class Americans. Okay? I just wanted to clear that up before he, calls me after and says you're a dick, because he's doing that right now. Let's see what else. No on the PX4. Why? It's a nice gun. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I guess Demolition Ranch also got hit by something, right? Didn't they get at least one? Let's see, who else is texting me? I like reading my text online. Oops. KS, I'm butt dialing you without my butt. Let's see. So let's see. Yeah, I've heard really good things about the PX4. Right now they're reasonably priced, I guess. But even those Springfields, man, I've been looking at the Mod 2s in a 45 ACP because they're dirt cheap. I mean, we're talking like 379, I think right now Gun Buyer has it for 369 for the Mod 2 and 45. So I mean, that's crazy cheap. I looked at the FNN 509 also. I just think right now the prices are still a little too high on those. The lowest I have found one is actually 509, but that's not including shipping. So, I have to take that into account as well. If it was in the 450s, which it probably never will be, I'd probably consider it, but not right now. Yeah, I carry my revolver is making a weird face saying Springfield. Again, I don't know. It's just something I've been looking at. And like I said, to try to change calibers at a 45, I don't think it's that bad. May not even be anything to review. Of course, Bald and Curious is saying get a Grand Power. I've never even heard of Grand Power. I'm just kidding. I have. And Nodak is saying that Demo Ranch sucks because he has guns, but he doesn't speak up about the Second Amendment. Yeah, and honestly, sometimes you wonder about that as well. I mean, is it more of a business opportunity to do those types of videos, or is it really a passion for the idea and the belief that you have the right to be able to own those firearms? That's the only thing I would question on that. But like I said, everybody has their own motivations why they do this. So Opt Out is saying he wants to stay away from politics. Yeah, he probably does. Like I said, I think that's what's going to start killing a lot of the channels. It's no secret that Mac has been completely outwardly and vocally against a lot of the things that have been happening. And I think that's what's really spelling his doom. And I'm not saying it's right. I think it's 100% wrong, but it's tough because, you don't want to see good channels be lost because of a political agenda. And that's exactly what's been going on, so let's see. Mateo is asking if Grand Power is that high-end custom high power. Trees Blowing is here. Hello. How are you, sir? What do I think about AR 80% lowers? You know, that's a great question for somebody else. I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you because I don't have enough knowledge about it. And I'm certainly not going to try to BS my way out of it because I just don't know enough about it. You know, like I've said in the past, for me up here in New York State, I just don't find it worth buying an AR because of all the modifications you have to do. It's just not worth it to me. But again, that's, you know, my particular opinion. You too, Ray. Thanks for showing up, man. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate all you guys coming in. It's always fun to, you know, do these and have you guys along for the ride. So let me ask you guys a question in regards to what you're seeing on these channels. You know, just basically saying, you know, or typing it in, you know, where do you rate these channels, these big channels? Do you think the majority of them have pretty much sold their souls? Do you think many of the larger channels are truthful and honest? Do you think that some of the bigger channels who are screaming about this to 2A, do you think they're really using the 2A amendment or the Second Amendment as a platform to try to, I guess you can say, make more money for themselves, and they're seeing that as a reason to scream even louder? You know, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that because, you know, I think that that should be addressed. You know, at this particular moment in time, we need to know who we can trust and who really has as many of our interests in line as possible. So I'd like to know what you guys think about that. So if you want to type in there, let me know. That'd be great. If not, that's fine. So Mateo is saying at a certain point, many have sold out to get that big. Yeah, maybe. I think sometimes you kind of lose sight, especially when you get the money raking in. I think that's a lot to do with it. Let's see. Logan is saying he thinks myself, KS, and Big J are doing an amazing job. Thank you, sir. I think a lot of the guys on this chat right now are doing an amazing job with trying to grow their channels and just being honest with what they know and what they don't know. You know, like the Humble Marksman. Humble Marksman is apparently some sort of scientist when it comes to guns. I watched one of his videos on how he measured ammo, and I shut it off. I was like, nope, don't want to watch this. Nodak is saying a lot of the big channels love the Second Amendment, don't speak out because of views equaling money. You're right. And again, I think that's where we need to really be cautious as to who we flag as our, you know, as our rallying call. Because, you know, when the opportunity strikes, we don't want somebody who is going to, you know, sell us out for what their own gains and what they want are. You know, I think that's where my concern comes into play. Once channels get big enough, they become brand with a trademark too big. Yeah, maybe that's the case too. That could be it. Let's see. Humble Marksman, if you want to stay on YouTube to make money, then yes. Okay. Opt out for gun control. I like Mac. I like Hank Strange. Wish Demo Ranch was more vocal. Yankee Marshall is divisive, but he often speaks the truth. Nut and Fancy seems honest. Hickok, Such, and several others are shills. Okay. I'm not going to agree or disagree with anything you just said. I think you're pretty much spot on. If you don't have an actual job besides YouTube, then you sold out. Yeah, maybe. That's a good point. That's a good point. Pop says he will never be serious about YouTube. You have a YouTube channel, Pops? Man, I didn't even know that. J Mike, I feel like Mac is sincere about the 2A. You know, he could be. Again, I don't know him. I'm sure, you know, I'm sure there's some legitimacy behind what he's saying and why he's doing it. You know, I hope there is. Let's see. Humble Mark's saying if you don't reload, it wouldn't help you. You're right. It didn't help me because I don't reload. Hunts for Food. Haven't heard anything from Hickok 45 about the NRA. And I don't think you will because I don't think it's any secret that he is sort of, I think, a paid spokesperson for them. Let's see. Yeah, once a channel starts marketing for some company, I turn them off from them, just being honest. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, I don't really watch a lot of the big channels because I don't feel like you can get really any honesty out of it. You know, I mean, you could have a turd on a plate in the shape of a handgun and they'll hold it in their hands. And as that turd starts to fall apart, they'll say it's the best gun in the world. And I just, you know, I think you find a lot more honest content with the smaller channels. But again, that's my opinion. Let's see. Range Randy's agreeing. Mac is great when it comes to 2A and gun rights. Okay. Logan is saying he doesn't make videos. Pops agree. 100%. If my channel goes away tomorrow, my gun rights never will. I agree with that too. Humble Martian saying he hasn't heard Such not love a pistol. Music lover, what's up? I'm on the fence on some, but if we pull apart the firearms community, the anti-gunners will use that against us. Yeah, to an extent, I think you're right, but I think to an extent you might be a little wrong on that, because the gun community isn't just a few big people on YouTube. I mean, the gun community are the grassroots people in every state that are really trying to represent their communities to make a positive effect on gun ownership and also gun knowledge and education. And I don't know if I necessarily see that as much from some of the these gun channels. Let's see. Nodak said I'd be more active and vocal, but nobody takes midgets seriously. Sure they do, for throwing them in bowling alleys. Come on. Dave Gass, I love the smaller channels. Most of them are good guys with the same passion for firearms as most of us, and are accessible. Yeah, good point. So Huff is Mac is very vocal about the Second Amendment, and he's from Indiana. Okay. Let's see. Nodak. I'll skip that because that's going to somebody else. Opt out of gun control and plenty of SBRs that you would have to take you seriously. That's a good point. SBRs would work for you, Nodak, if you're a midget. I carry my revolver is saying some big channels refuse to mess with their money sponsors, especially their Patreons or the patrons that stand to lose lots and lots of money. That is true. And, it was interesting because I was watching another channel last week, and they were talking about how they just weren't making any money and all this other stuff. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, I think I have, oh God, how many do I have? I think I have 41 and change right now, 4,100 and change. And I would say on average, every 3 months, I make maybe $120 every 3 months. So you figure that's about $40 a month. And that's only with 4,100 subscribers. So you can only imagine then somebody who's got like 50,000 subscribers, or in this case, 40,000 subscribers. They have that many more than I do. I'm making $120 every 3 months. I'm sure they're making 4 times that, maybe even more. So I would take $4,000 every 3 months. I don't know about you guys, but I certainly would. I would take that. Let's see. Poe is saying, don't lump all Hoosiers in the same class as Mac. Man, there's some hate going on there, Poe. Let's see. Mateo saying, here's another thing that bothers me about some of these bigger channels. They'll come out asking for money right away after they do a video on a $2,000 gun they just bought. Yeah, that's also interesting too. I mean, I've seen some videos where they talk about, I need this from Patreon. And if you look carefully at what they're wearing like, a $500 watch. They're driving around in a pretty nice car, that's relatively new. And they have all kinds of crazy expensive handguns. I mean, I'm driving in a car that's right now 10 years old with almost 100,000 miles on it. So I just find that odd. Hey, can you guys support me? It's ridiculous, but that's just my own opinion. And if you're using it, you know what? Good for you. I'm not going to say you shouldn't. It's just not my thing. Let's see. David, 1776. I know that I will get some heat for this, but I also like the Springfield XD Mod 2 service. I had it in my hands today and it felt great. Yeah, I mean, it feels good. It's a nice handgun. Unfortunately, if you could just scratch off Springfield and probably put Glock on there, everybody would jump on it like it's, white on rice. But I think it's a good gun. I still do. And a lot of times when I think of Springfield, the people who work for Springfield have to make a living as well. And, if you don't buy the products, those people lose their jobs. And I'm not excusing what the heads did, but, sometimes there's a bigger picture there too. It's not just a one lane highway, man. Music is saying I'm fixed income. So as a general rule, I don't give money except to the GOA. Yeah. And honestly, I can't ask you guys for money. That's just weird to me. But like I said, if you support Patreon and your Patreon, great. If that's what you want, that's cool. And then Hunts for Food is saying, wow, Hickok must be raking in the cash. You're absolutely correct. I mean, these big channels that have, some of these channels have almost 500,000 subscribers, 1 million subscribers, if not more. They're making money. And if they sit there and they tell you they're not making any money, they're not telling you the truth, guys. I'm sorry. And I think for whatever reason, and again, I'm not telling you that you shouldn't or should, I just think be honest about it. I mean, how much do you really make? If you have 50,000 subscribers and I have 4,000 subscribers and I'm making 120 bucks every 3 months, you know what? How much are you possibly making there? Probably 4 to 5 times the amount I am. So that's every 3 months, maybe 5 grand, maybe. I'm just throwing out figures here. I may be completely wrong. Let's see. I carry my revolver. People still buying Springfield. They're just keeping it on the down low. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think you're right. Let's see. Somebody's complaining that Mac threw a VP9 at a steel target and then complained something broke. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and Poe is saying that apparently Hickok makes $600 to $800 per day. That's crazy. 200 grand a year. Dave Gass, thanks, man. Hopefully the mic will stick around. I'm not going to be on much longer, guys. It's 9:30, and I want to shut this down because yeah, Rich 1911 is having a chat, and I always try to not interfere with others. Parasitic generation is taken. I'll take anybody's unwanted money. That's a good point. If you got money, send it. Yep, you're absolutely right, Ben, that they will get they will get their 1099. Look, I made enough money in a year that I got a 1099 from YouTube. So that says a lot. That says a lot. And it wasn't for much, that's for sure. Hickok has 3 million subs and the NRA backing him. He is making some money. That's definite. Good for him. God bless him. Let's see. Small challenge are honest, and when someone pulls out a $2,000 gun to review, I could care less. I like seeing the stuff I could afford. Yeah, me too. I feel the same way. Logan, have a good weekend. I'm going to be shutting this down here anyway, guys. So I'll take like last second questions, and then I'm going to cut it loose, and then I'm probably going to have to call KS because I think he's mad at me. I like making fun of people. It's fun. All right, guys. So we're going to call it a night. I hope you guys have a great night. If you have nothing else to do, I'll probably do another one of these in a week and a half or so, and we'll see you there. So have at it. Keep those Second Amendment rights ours. Stay safe out there. And as always, guys, freedom is never free.